Stop! Good for
Why are all the images blocked? Why are all the images? Okay, whatever. All right, here we go. So we don't need to go cray into this. We're just going to make an approximation of an eyeball. We're not going to make an actual full eyeball because that would be ridiculous and we don't need that. Now what we do need on an eyeball is we need this where there's an inner side, and you see that clear the clear outer shell or sheath or whatever. It's called the skeleton. Oh my god, you can't see it, can you? If you remember, there's like a thing that goes around it, and it's like it's pushed out in the front. So it's like kind of rounded in the front here. That's the sclera, or sclera, or whatever you want to call it. And then inside you have the actual eyeball, and you'll have the iris and pupil and stuff like that. We want to actually model the iris. It's an actual hole, but we're not going to model that. We're just going to have the texture of a hole there. And the iris has this thing where it kind of bends inward a teensy bit here, because it's going into the hole. And we're going to exaggerate that a lot, because what we're going to try and do is we're going to have two parts to an eye model. Most eye models have two parts, unless they're a very, very simple eye. If you want to make it anywhere near realistic, with realistic shading and lighting, you need to have two parts. One part is the inside part, and then it'll kind of, see the way it's like bending in a teeny bit? I know there's muscle in here, but it's kind of bending in a bit. So the inner part would do that. What? No, it's close. The inner part will do that, and then we'll have the outer part that will have a transparent material on it. Not fully transparent, it will still react to light. It'll be transparent so we can see through it, but light when shining on it will make it a little highlight on it. So it'll be a shiny, slightly transparent material on the outside, and it'll be bumped in the front. When you put those two together, what should look like is you should see the little kind of bump in the front of the eyeball, like a little bulge here, and the light should be able to hit. If you ever look at someone's irises, really close. If I can find a really close eye picture. Hold on a sec. Picture of an eye. And I'm sure we'll find so many generic. There we go. Where's a good one? Okay, here. That one's actually a good one. Oh, dang it. Okay, so this highlight here is coming from the light, and also this is in general an interesting thing for especially photography people. You can tell what lights people use almost always. I used to learn this by looking at people's eyes, because you can see that's an umbrella, and that's an umbrella flash light that's been used, and you can see it's coming from over there. And it's useful to know for digital painting as well, because then you kind of are able to figure out where light's coming from and stuff like that. When you look at a digital painting, it's useful. Anyway, so this light looks like it's being reflected off a curved surface, because it is. That's your sclera. It's getting there, and then you see the way it's light down here, even though the light's falling from like top right, but it's light down here, which means this iris is reacting like a concave shape. It is not a concave shape. It's only just because it's slightly semi-transparent. Well, it's not semi-transparent, but it's sort of a small concave shape, and it's slightly semi-transparent. So the light penetrates a little bit. So it does hit down the bottom here, and this upper part is in shadow. Now to simulate that in 3D, we have the eyeball, we have the curved shape on the outside. The sclera is exactly the same as it is in real life. That's fine. It will stay with shaniness. The inside will be very concave, so that when the light hits it, the light on the inside will go on the bottom, and then the top part will be in shadow. So that's how we replicate how eye looks like in 3D. So I'm sure there are better examples, but I just know for a fact that I did that on this one, so I'm just going to show this one. And oh my lord. So you can kind of see it there. You see the way, if I move, you see the way the light is going shiny on the outside, and on the inside so you get these two hot spots of light. One hot spot here is the sclera outside hitting there, and then this one is the inside of the eye, and the light's hitting that. And then because the outside sclera, I've made it kind of fuzzy. It's a lot better on SketchUp. I've made it kind of fuzzy, so it's not like perfectly smooth, which it isn't. The sclera isn't perfectly smooth. You get a soft fade of light as well. Okay, so it's all those together. You get something that looks close enough to an eye. It should just work with all of those put together. So essentially what you need to do is one ball. It'll have a texture of an eyeball on it. There'll be a dip on the front of the ball, the concave area, and on that concave area will be the pupil texture. Surrounded by another ball with a little bit of a bump in the front, and that will be the sclera. And all that has is just a material that's slightly shiny and transparent.
Will we be using ray tracing, like the stuff for the material and stuff?
This is all real-time stuff, so we don't need to, I mean, technically, yes, it is doing ray tracing, but this is all real-time. So all we need to do is set up the materials and the shapes of the eyeball correctly, and it'll work in either if you want to render by ray tracing or if you want to render by real time, it'll work for all of them. It's just a way to fudge the look of an eye, like close enough. Like pretty much, as far as I know, this technology hasn't improved for a long time, but still the same. All right. Now the other thing is, this eyeball that I made was a very simple eyeball. So what I did with this one is this round area is cut out by itself on the UV map, and it's there by itself. It's like a round thing, and I just put a pupil shape on it, and then everything else is just pure white. So it's a lot easier than a realistic eyeball. It was just straight. Everything else is white. That thing has a pupil, and that's it. And that works for this because you can see it's all white and there's no special veins or anything like that because it's cartoon card. So I don't care. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do something that's realistic because that's the easier way. The easier way is just get a sphere, cut out that part that's going to be concave, that will be different, a little circle on the unwrap UVW, and then everything else just unwrap it whatever way you want, and it's just pure white. That's cartoon character. That's probably what you want to do. Because I want to understand what I mean when I say that, though, when I say the unwrap. Right? Do you want me to see the actual unwrap? Yeah? Okay. Let's see if I can find it. But for today, we'll be doing a different method. A slightly more realistic method. Oh no. What? If the on-screen is too bad, I'm also streaming. So twitch.tv/Firewater Sun.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Love that.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Can you even like, follow, subscribe on Twitch? Yeah? That's cool. I don't think I have donations set up, so you can just give me cash right now.
Pay for education.
Sorry, are you paying me for your education?
Technically, yes.
Technically, taxpayers pay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a I could just own my job, pal. I could do bare minimum.
I would sell you to Satan for 1 corn check.
Well, that's a good deal.
I think you have a bit more self-respect than that.
I don't know, do I? I don't know. I don't know if I do. I don't know if you do. Moana. Cool. High quality eyes. Okay, I'm not sure if this is the one. I think they are. Yes, except I have no maps. So you see I have a transparency material. You wouldn't need to do it in Max. I only had it here just to test. To do that, by the way, it's controlled by your opacity down here. There's an opacity, and there is a opacity here, and a glossiness here as well. So that controls how shiny. You can see if I grab that and change it, it gets shinier or less shiny, and the same with the opacity. It gets less opaque or more opaque. So I was on 5%ish, and this material though may not always go into Sketchfab or Unity or whatever it is. They may not understand 3ds Max materials. I literally just did this as a test. In Unity or in Sketchfab, I brought it to make my own material, which again, simple. I just need to make sure it's slightly slightly opaque, mostly transparent, and not that smooth. Because if it's super smooth, it doesn't have that fuzz look we want. This texture, where was this texture supposed to be? I don't know if I have it still. Yeah, I don't think I have it. Sketchfab test. Anyway, you can see the unwrap though. So the unwrap should be, if I grab one of these, unwrap PVW. Cool. Hopefully you can see that. I cut it around the actual iris area, and then everything else is just a straight cut down the bottom. And there was I did see the cross so it would open up a bit more. And we can look at it on the UVs. Just looks like that. That's all it looks like. That area is just for the iris. Everything else is just pure white. And again, this is a simple ass eyeball. Super simple. That's why I didn't really care about unwrapping it super perfectly, because I would be what you call it? I would be just making pure white on everything. Now I can use this for my realistic eyeball. I can. In fact, I might actually use it for today for my realistic eyeball. Now, anyone know why my iris area is so big? Straight up more detail. Yeah, I just so I can fit as much detail as possible on that area. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
How many polygons of the eyeball would you like?
Okay. So
if you want to get
this eyeball was I don't remember what it was, but it's not that high poly. It's pretty high poly. That's not the 30. The 30,000 is the head. I think it's 2,000. So they're pretty high poly by themselves. Let me just check, make sure that's correct. Viewport settings, global settings, statistics, total and selection. Okay. Yeah, my eyeball's 1K, so they're 500 polys each, which is not too bad. It's fairly high. It's not that bad. But you see the way it's quite rounded and quite smooth. So I'm using these eyeballs in a very high poly model. So the eyeballs need to not be super pigmented. Now, if you're making a super low poly model, it's very simple. Like obvious, you're totally fine, and you can just, you can just make it much lower poly. That's fine. In my case, mine's a lot higher poly because, I need it to be high poly. Okay? Cool? Alright? Fine. Oh shit. Cool. So, any other questions before I begin on this? So you can see in the front, you see the way it's got like a little dip in? And that's where the iris comes in. It's like a little dip inside of it. So it's pushed in.
Did you use a balloon to do that, so it's pretty smooth?
I literally just, I'll show you now. Basically what it is you grab one of the vertices and you pull it in, but use a soft selection. So it brings a bunch of other vertices with it, but not as strongly. And then you change the smoothing groups of all the inside ones so they're different to the outer, so you get that hard edge. Yeah. So if I turn on the wireframe, that's what they look like. It's literally just a sphere, one side's pulled in. I'll make a much lower poly sphere for today. So File, New, New All. Okay, cool. I'm going to start first with a sphere, probably, because that's what eyeballs are made of. Sphere. Turn on snap to make sure it's in the center, and I'll create it. Now you want to be careful where your front is, because I screwed up on this a couple times before. There's my front, so I'm looking from the front right now, and I know that, so that's good, because I've made eyeballs and then they turned out facing backwards into their head. So just be careful where your front is. And I'm now going to rotate the sphere to face forwards. Now I can just do this. I can just turn on the angle snap and just rotate 90 degrees forwards. Awesome. That's forwards. The problem is I've also rotated my pivot point. So my pivot point is now knowing that I'm 90 degrees. And what happens is if I import somewhere else, it's like, oh, my pivot point's 90 degrees, and my eyeball starts looking straight up into my head. So I need to affect pivot only, and you can just align to world. and you should see the arrows snap back, and it's now aligned to world. Alright? Are people following this? So will I slow down, or do you want me to just go through the whole process, and you can try it later on? Try later on? Alright, I'll go through the whole process then. Alright, so I'm going to turn off effective and only. That's done here. If I want a low poly model, segments go lower. I mean, probably that's like the minimum you can do, really. That's really low poly. Or if I want a higher poly, past a certain amount, like past like about 40, it doesn't really, like it's super smooth anyway, so I don't think you need much more than that. And 40 segments for an eyeball is mad smooth. Like, I don't think you need that. It's like I'm on a 1,700 polys per eyeball. I feel like that's overkill. So I'm gonna leave it at like, I don't know, say 20. Yeah, 20 is pretty good. 24. Okay, cool. Then I'll have that, and I'm gonna do non-destructive editing. And non-destructive editing just means like instead of right-click convert to editable poly, I can just go to modifier list and add the edit poly modifier. And this just means if anytime I'm doing stuff and I'm like, oh shit, actually I need more polygons, I can just go back down to the sphere, yes, and increase the polygon count here. Now it will screw up my modifiers above. You see the way it's screwed up? So but it just means that I'm able to go back down. It sometimes does affect modifiers above though. So anyway, edit poly.
How come we haven't been using that this whole time?
Because it's dodgy. Because people, if I teach you that the first thing, people start stacking modifiers and it gets really messy real fast. Okay. That's why. It's like now that you really know, hopefully, really know how to use it. This is like this is just the way you could do it.
Does that mean you trust us?
I mean, yeah. Hopefully, you should know how to use this method now. Either way, though, in this case, though, it doesn't make a difference too much because if I make edit poly changes anyway, and I go back to my sphere and change my segments or whatever, I still have the same problem. It still doesn't affect above, so it's the same as if I convert to editable poly anyway. I kind of need to start from scratch. Anyway, so here we go. Here's my edit poly. Here's my sphere. Now this is where I'm actually going to make a copy of the sphere. I'm going to call this one Sclera. And I'm going to make a copy for my actual eyeball. So I'm going to copy this, okay, and this one will be the actual eyeball. Just going to hide Sclera away and snap the eyeball in the Sclera. Let me change the color to make sure that I know that this is the different one. So my eyeball is pink and my Sclera is green, and they're exactly on top of each other, which I need. Okay, they need to be exactly on top of each other. Now, the other thing is my Sclera needs to be, here's my eyeball, the Sclera needs to be a little bit above the eyeball because there is some thickness to the Sclera. It needs to be a bit bigger. We're going to simulate the thickness by making it a bit bigger. Now I can scale the Sclera, that's easy to do. I can just grab this Sclera and just scale it like that. But the issue is I can't see inside, and it's a bit hard to fine tune if I want to push it a little bit. And I scale it, it's a bit hard to do that. So first of all, I'm going to make it transparent. Did I already do that? You see the way it doesn't know which one to render because the polys are exactly on top of each other? It's getting confused. You can never have that. So let me just make it a bit transparent. And if I scale it up, you should be able to see. You can see it, right? I don't know if you can, but there's like a transparent covering around. So you can scale it, or you can use a push modifier. Push. And push is just like you can put the exact value of how much you want to push it, and you can time it. And the thing of push that is really, really nice as well is if I have a shape like this. One segment. What? 2 segments. Convert it to editable poly, and I grab this and I'll extrude. Come on, extrude. Okay, so if I have this shape, normally if I try to scale it, it'll just be exactly this shape, just bigger, right? But a push will make it fatter. So we go to push and push it, gets fatter. Okay, and it does have some issues sometimes here. where it's hard edge. But this is a way to, like, if you modeled your hand, let's say, and you're like, oh no, my hand's too skinny and my finger's too skinny, drop a push on it and it'll like flatten it up. It's like a bulge kind of thing, okay? Alright, so that's done. So I've got my sclera and I've got my eyeball. They're linked on top of each other. Not linked, but you know. Let's push that a little bit more. Cool. They're right on top of each other. They're both exactly the same size and stuff. And now I just need to make I'll do the sclera first. I'll make the sclera. Let me make it non-transparent again. Have the little bulge in front, you know, that little bulge in front of the sclera. This first thing, I need to figure out where the front is. Okay, this is the front. I'm going to grab a vertex. Just grab this center vertex here. And if I go down to soft selection, right here, soft selection, I can turn on use soft selection. You see this heat map thing showing up? So this heat map thing is how much it's affecting the other vertices. So red is really closely affected, blue is much less closely, yellow is kind of in between. So if I pull it, you can kind of see what I mean. Like they're all following what I'm doing, but not exactly. It's not like if I grabbed all of those same vertices without soft selection, they would all move exactly. That's not what I want. But with the soft selection, they kind of softly follow the vertex. So that's grand, except that I'm grabbing too big an area. I just want a little bump here, really. So that's where the fall-off comes in. And the fall-off controls how big a range of an area it selects. I think you guys have seen soft selection before, right? Who's your lecturer? It's terrible. Alright, and I just pulled that out, and you see I've got a sclera. It's a bit too much. I'm going to drop the soft selection again. I'm going to drop off the fall-off even more. See if that will affect only the area I want. Yeah, that's a bit better. So now I'm getting that kind of sclera shape. And you can also control how much it pinches by this pinch here. You can see this is the shape it's trying to make. So for example, if I wanted to make this shape like this, now when I pull, you'll see that it kind of makes that shape instead. Alright, and that's done by the pinch here. But in this case, I want it to make quite a rounded, quite a rounded shape, like so. So I'll pull, and awesome. Got like a soft select thing. You may need to go back in and edit some of them, like this. I'll pull that back a little bit, and I can even scale it out a little bit. Just not too much. Cool. All right. So I kind of have that eyeball shape that you see. Hopefully, eyeball. Hopefully you can see here on the outside part of it. Can you see that? Like the outside kind of stare a bit? Yeah, not really. But. Okay, so I've got that. Now I can turn off the sclera. I do not need to unwrap the sclera. Now you probably should. I'm just being lazy. Because on the sclera I'm not putting any textures on. I'm straight up just putting a material. I'm telling the material, be shiny, be slightly transparent, and don't be very smooth to light. It doesn't have any texture on it. If you go work in especially in film, where they get really detailed, they'll actually have a normal map on the sclera where there's like little tiny imperfections, little pits and dots and stuff. So if you need that, then yes, of course you have to unwrap it for it to be able to take a normal map. I'm going to do lazy way today and not unwrap this sclera, okay? But just so you know, if you want to have that micro detail for a super high res model, that when you turn the lights on it, you can see there's actual little dips and dots on their sclera, you do need to unwrap it. So I don't, so I'm going to leave that. That sclera is done. I'm going to go to the eyeball. Now on the eyeball, I'm going to try a thing. Left, where's front?
What are you gonna do, man?
Front. I'm going to try a thing where I only edit these polys, so it doesn't touch any of the other polys. So I'm going to select these polys, and you can see in my edit poly there's a selection. Now, hopefully, if I go and use a... No, actually, I can do... I use an FFD now. It's another method of doing this. So if I use an FFD, there's a cylinder FFD. Like so. But these guys sometimes don't work that well. So we'll just try it. I'm just going to grab the center control point and pull that in. It should only affect these ones. Yeah, it's kind of working. Sometimes you have issues where they don't go in perfectly. Yeah, no, I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that, so I'm just gonna undo that. See if we can do another edit poly on top of it. Yeah, should be able to. So now I think use the self-selection. Does that work on only those? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's annoying. Alright, cool. So I'm going to do the same thing with the self-selection instead. I tried to do a trick, but it didn't work. I'm going to grab only that center area, and I will pull that in now to make this kind of eyeball shape. And that'll be the inside of the eyeball. And you can see it already working, like even with the crappy lighting that's in max. When I look at it from the side, this part's in shadow, this part's light because the light's coming from top right. You can see that already working. Okay, and that's how it should react. So that's how the iris reacts. This part's in shadow, this part's in light, if the light's coming from above. But usually it is when someone is looking at you. You usually have light coming from above. So anyway, that's ready, that's done. Now we need to unwrap it. I will do the unwrap PPW here. I'll turn off map seams, so I don't want the green ones. And where you unwrap it now kind of determines how big your eyeball size is. Again, there are loads of ways to texture this eyeball. There's a projection method, which I'll show you. The projection method, you don't care where you unwrap because you just project it onto it. But in my case, I'm going to try and do it properly, and I'll just unwrap and say, okay, this little area inside, that's where my iris is. So I'm going to grab. I can do it with the point-to-point seams, which you guys have seen. I can just do that and keep going all the way around. That's one method. And then a quick method is if I use a selection of edges, grab one edge and do this, it links all the way around. And I can convert that selection to seams, and now they're all blue. Perfect. Then I can do the same here, link all the way around, and then deselect these ones. So the back of the eyeball, I don't care too much about it because, I mean, you know, we'll see. So I'm going to try and unwrap it for the seams, link all the way around, and try to delete up to here. Cool. And connect. Awesome. Another thing to note as well, and I'm giving you a lot of info, but hopefully the video will be able to go over it. If I do that normally, it's going all the way around, right? If I try to delete them from here by holding Alt and Select, they are still there. Because by default, this back facing is on, and that means anything where the polygon is not facing you, it ignores. Whereas if I turn that off, undo that, and turn that off, it will grab all of them, even if they're not facing you. So that's here, ignore back facing. It's very annoying that they don't have little words underneath them. I know it looks pretty or whatever, but it's very hard for people who don't know. So here's my pupil, and now I just need to unwrap it. Very simple. Do the polygon select, grab that, expand to seam, pelt unwrap it, start pelt, start relax, commit, that's done. Then the rest should all come out as one piece. Start pelt, start relax. Oop, I'm done. So I've done 2 pieces, that's my eyeball. Grab both of them, and I will pack them. And I'm allowing 3ds Max to rotate. So 1, 2, 3, 1. That did not work well. Okay, sometimes you gotta manually have a bit of love. So I'll grab that, and I will make that bigger because I want more detail in the iris. Cool. All good? Awesome. Awesome. Alright, save that, close that, and I can export this ready for Substance. So File, Export, select it, and Desktop, and I'll go to Asset Design, iTest2. Make sure I don't need animation. Smoothing groups are on. Oh, sorry. Completely forgot to do smoothing groups. So I didn't do the smoothing groups. What a scrub. I'll throw another edit poly modifier on top of it. So now, if you look at it, it's smooth. It's like kind of a pillow being pushed in. I can leave it like that. It depends on the style that you want. Or I can try to have a hard edge. And in this case, I'm going to try to have a hard edge. So grab all the way around here. And this is smoothing groups are 1. So I'll just convert them to 2. And they should be, yeah, cool. And you see the way there's a little one inside as well? That's because these ones are also 1. Let's see, crop them, go to 2. Turn off 1, turn on 2, and perfect. That's a nice little concave eyeball. Done. Smooth group. Now I can export. Export selected, iTest2. No animation, all this stuff's done. Cool. Save this as iTest1, iTest2. Now set design, eyes. Cool, so that saved the mat. I can go open up Substance. So there's a couple things we can do in Substance. On Substance Source. Substance Source. The Substance Source, which you have to pay for, I think, and then Substance Shared you don't have to pay for. But you get free stuff in Substance Source as well. Okay, Substance Share then. You do get free stuff in Substance Source. I'm trying to see, maybe they have a good one. Oh. Sad. Okay, Share will definitely have one because I saw one yesterday and I used one yesterday, so I feel like it has one. Eyeball. What? Whew. Alright, so there are these materials that I already made. There's this one that I used yesterday that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm going to show you just how to use this one and also how to use your own by yourself. Now this one won't work that well though because it needs it to be unwrapped a super weird way. But anyway. Yeesh. Oh no. No I don't. No. Cancel. Okay. File. New. And now you have Unity 5 template. iTest2. Open to everything else is fine. Okay. There we go. So here is my eyeball. Cool. I have that material already downloaded from Substance Share. You just download and import it into Substance as a material. I can't remember where it was. What's it called again? Okay. No. Lies. Didn't import. There we go. So it was this one, I'm pretty sure. No, 2016. Doesn't look right. Maybe. We'll see. Import it as a material. Import it to shelf. Is that the right one? Yeah, I think it is. Oh, it's horrendous looking. Anyway, should be able to drag it on there. Come on, buddy. There we go. And it's all over the place, but we can move it so it, by using the UV offset here, so you can move it so it fits your eye. It's very gross looking. Eyes are gross looking. And fit it. Now you see it's not working for, it's working for the pupil area where I unwrapped it, but it's not working for the back area. And that's because this person, the way they made the material, it's literally just a texture of an eye. It's slapped on. So you have to unwrap it so it's, does that make sense? You'll have to unwrap it so it's out like that. So just FYI, it works for this, but you'll need to unwrap it a different way. But anyway, it's quite cool anyway because you can offset it, put it here, you can rotate it and stuff like that. And what? Huh?
Does this go on to the material, another one that has a concave in it, or the outer one's the transparent?
This is on the inside, of course. Yeah, the outside is transparent. You can change the scale here, so how big. You can have some weird ass thing like that. You can change the scale. And what's really cool about this one is there's eye type. Well, no, the eye type's useless. It's only like normal and some weird ass eye. Like that's all. Yeah, I know. I know. I don't even know what that is. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's the anime thing from video anime.
Is that actually a thing?
It's not old. It's from 2000.
Okay. Anyway, size here. You can do like pupil size, iris size.
Oh, the mean.
The blood vessel distances and stuff like that. So there are all these little cool things. It's procedural, so it's pretty cool. You can change the color grading of the entire eye and stuff, and the hue. It's pretty cool. So it is quite useful, but it only works if you unwrap it like straight on, essentially, where like it's you grab it, which I don't really want. So I just wanted to show you that so you know it exists. I'm gonna make one from scratch and use that. I'll use a projection method. So I'm gonna try and find an eyeball first. Eye texture. Oh, that's great. Oh, cool. Now, what you do want to avoid is you want to. This exactly. You want to avoid stuff like this, where it's already lit up, where it's already lighting and stuff on it. Or if you're drawing yourself, same thing. You want to not draw lighting, because if you do, when you add 3D lighting, it's going to look like a sticker of lighting. And then you have real 3D lighting. So it's not going to look like a real eyeball. You want something like this or like this, where they are just generic flat eye with no lighting. Even this is almost perfect except for that stupid thing there. Let me see if I can find one. Anyone see one that jumps out? Where? Here? Yeah, that's pretty okay. This one? No, this one. Oh, that one's nice. I'm sorry, that one's cool. What? Which one?
That one you're looking at now.
This one?
The white iris around it. The iris itself is white.
Yeah, that's just texture. That's not lighting.
I don't know.
I'm gonna use it.
That could be like
I'm gonna use it.
What about that one that's...
What's those lenses?
Wait, I missed to save that one first. Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec!
Paso, here's the lecture.
Oh, sorry. Could you please fucking hold on a second? Thank you. Okay, so where's the other one? Sorry?
One down.
Oh, that one's pretty good as well.
Two to the left.
Oh, that's real good. Oh, I can just tint it so it's blue. Yeah, defo. What was it again? Sorry, down.
One down.
One down. One up.
To the right, two sides.
One
more.
No,
would that have been okay?
I'm ignoring. Anyone else have anything? Okay, I'm gonna use that one. What?
The green one.
This one?
Yeah.
It's got things on it though, see?
Nope. I don't see it.
It's got like a watermark on it.
Yeah, just use that.
Just use it with a watermark?
Yeah.
TurboSquid.com.
In the cyberpunk future, people who can't afford to license their eyes have watermarks.
Oh, don't, like dark. It's actually so gonna happen.
That's scary. What?
Well, because I will do it. If you could have an eye where you could AR everything and you could see people and you could like remember the names and like how you connect to them and stuff, and like I know there's privacy weirdness, but I totally do it. I totally pay someone to have my eye.
But you gotta pay
Take
extra.
photos.
You gotta pay extra to not have the shutter stock on your eye.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Amazon or something for your eyeball.
It's
I have to
transparent.
pay extra.
Anytime you take a picture, you take out your eyeball.
I'm just saying, guys. Whenever those come out, I'm gonna be having them. So
Well, then it'll be a conversation that we don't have it to do and we're required.
I'm sure there will be.
Sorry,
Okay, so the eyeball is there. I've got the eyeball texture. Now this is only going to work for my iris only. Okay, I haven't found a texture for the other side of the eye, or the back side, and like the white part of the eyeball. You know what I mean? You get what I mean? I guess what I mean. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. So I'm gonna go to bitmap to material. There we go. And I'm gonna try and make a material out of this, will I? Or will I just project it?
Project it. Be a rebel.
I'll get at least a normal map from it. So I'll bring in the texture there that I got online on the lines. Where is it? Where is it? There. That's the design. Eyes. I think it was texture 1. Yeah, it was. Let's do the blue eyes. Drop it there. Main input. You guys should know this already, hopefully. I can change the geometry to a cube. There we go. Cool. It looks like that. What? Lenoid.
I'm just telling him about Lenoid earlier.
Alright, cool. Go to the relief, sorry, and that will control my normal map. So you can see, I don't know if you probably can't see on screen, but on my screen, when I change the low frequencies, all the low frequencies are getting real deep and stuff, I can change the mid. So I'm getting it really normal mappy.
It's pretty hot. This is a
designer.
two layering.
What? If you've been watching,
Oh!
You can't hear because everyone keeps talking.
oh no, I'm saying even along. It's bitmap to material. So cool. I've got this. That's all I need. I don't really need anything else. I can do an AO maybe from an ambient occlusion or whatever, but I've got most of what I need. I just need it to be kind of bumpy looking and have the texture. So I just need to export that. So export as bitmap. And oh wait. Oh, I have no idea where I exported to. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, I'm going to 1, 2, 4. Export as bitmap. Go to the eyes. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm going to call this iris texture.
I'm distracted.
Who just left? Oh.
Jenny, do you even go here?
That was weird.
Okay, select that, and I don't need anything except the color. I can control the roughness and the metallic later. Well, no, I need diffuse, and I need the ambient occlusion and this normals. Okay, I can export that, and that's exported. Ambient occlusion. Actually, I can change the ambient occlusion if I want to make it like super dark and stuff. Can you see that? So like it's real dark in the eyes and stuff. If I want to, as well. I don't know. Seems a bit hardcore. I think it's too much. Anyway, close that. Go back to Substance, and I can now import those textures that I just made. They are in iris texture. Oh, they're Targas. Why did I make them Targas? Okay. So that'll be, I need the normal map, and I need the ambient occlusion and the diffuse. Let's drop them in. Slap them all as textures. Textures, import to current session. Yeah, current session, import. Cool, done. Alrighty. Alright, so now I can go to projection down here. And in projection, you can project stuff like directly into the model. Have I shown you projection before? No? No? Okay, I probably haven't. So on projection, you click on that and you literally just project a texture or a material onto the model. So we can do it on materials as well. I can just like grab this material, for example, and on the projection mode here, come on, buddy. There's the brush and the flow and the opacity and stuff, but there's also either I can individually change each of these, rough, metal, color, height, normal, or I can just drag in a material as well, and I can literally just project that, and you see it projecting onto the. I definitely showed you this because I did with Liam's face. Yeah. So you can rotate around and you can see it, and it actually projects the normal map and everything as well onto it. So yeah, that was with the material, but instead I can also do projection with projection. And instead of using a material, boop, I can use the color. So those textures that I downloaded, I can't remember what they're called. No, shit. What did I call them? Bitmap to material. Okay, bitmap to. Where are they? It's not embarrassing. They're here. Oh, they're here. I would hate to be embarrassed right now. The fuse isn't working either. Okay, color. Texture, import to. There we go. Alright, so color goes into color of these. Awesome. The others go into where they're supposed to go. So normal map goes into normal map here. Boop. And then the ambient occlusion, I don't have an ambient occlusion. So I don't need height, I don't need roughness, and I don't need metal. I'll literally just project it on. So you can project either here or here. And if anyone remembers, to move to stencils and stuff, these are called stencils, hold S, and you can, if you hold S long enough, the options all appear here. So S right is zoom, S middle is pan, S left is rotate. So let's zoom that down so it fits the eyeball over here. Come on, baby. Move that here.
You know the transparency in the sense of.
What?
Can you lower the transparency?
Yes, I don't remember how, but yeah, you can. There, let's just Google it. There is a method, defo. Alright, and I can just project that on, and it should show up, and it even has its normal map and stuff on it already. Perfect. Beautiful. Alright, oh crap, there's stuff here.
You can turn on the wrapping.
I will erase, and then the thing is, because I have them separated away, if I just erase around here, it cleanly erases. Oh, no, it doesn't.
No, you have to go to the settings.
Oh, why did they do that? Yeah, why did they do that? Why, like? Why would you ever need to? Where is it again?
Set settings in there.
The consistent bats.
On below where?
Oh, maybe where?
Stop whispering for you.
Where is it? Sorry. No.
Usually they do there, maybe. Oh, it's weird. There. It's stupid.
It's so dumb. Okay, so as Cal said, thank you, Cal. This is new, and this happened in 2018. It's super mad stupid. Like, obviously, if I'm painting on the 2D map, I should be painting on the 2D map, but I guess not. Substance knows better. So here it is. What is it? Normally tangent wrap, I think. Tangent wrap usually, and I need to change the UV so it respects the UV parameters, which is so dumb. Don't know why they changed it. It was fine before. I don't like change. All right, so when I erase it off, you see it perfectly goes away. All right. Otherwise, before it was kind of like wrapping together. So that's fine. I've got an eyeball. Great. It's got the white areas. On back to my layers. That is on one layer by itself. So it's super shiny at the moment. So I should be able to edit its roughness and stuff as well on the properties of the layer itself. Or I can just add another layer above it, to be honest, and control it that way. So add a fill layer and turn off color, turn off height, turn off normal, and this should only control roughness. So I'll increase the roughness up a little bit and the metallicity. So if I make it too smooth, it gets real shiny and shit. I know. Oh no, the normal map of the fucking Amazeballs. Yeah, it's a normal map of the last material because I painted it into the same layer. So I'll have to do it again. Okay, cool. I might as well change the roughness here as well. Sorry about that. Let's pop up the roughness a little bit, and let's pop up the metallicity a little bit as well. So metallicity, let's go a little top. You can see the preview here. Luckily, it's still where we left it, and we should be able to project it back on, which is fine. Cool. Dunzo. So we've got the eyeball on its own little layer. Awesome. And if I drag a layer below it, this one I can delete. Turn it on. And this layer I'll add a fill. And this can be my, I'll make it a little bit reddish, not too much, just a little tiny bit. If you do too much, it looks like they're drunk. Just a teeny tiny bit. Well, then you can make them drunk. And put the rough. And let's see. And this is where you may want to, if you want to be fancy, you may want to put in a normal map that has loads of tiny little micro details of like dips and bumps. So when the light looks on it, it looks like a real light, like the Moana one. I think I have that. It just has like some dirty noise on it. I just took a brush in Photoshop and just went there with black and white, so it has some texture, and just slapped it onto the eyeball. But for now, this is fine. This works okay. So I have an eyeball, and if I want to make it fancy, I can also add more layers and go and look for eye vein textures. So stuff like this, you can then project that on as well to add more, and then kind of paint it a little bit red in the back area. Okay, so I can do that as well. I'm going to also try procedural. I might be able to do that. Let me just paint on the back of it first. Alt and Shift will snap. So I'm snapped to the back now, and let's paint really softly. Just a little color on here. Little pink color. Very low opacity. So you can just kind of do that, so it's not a pure white eyeball. And just remember though, you kind of need to go a bit to the front, because the player is not going to see the back of it. Okay, so can I see it? No, I can't. I need to go further, closer. Cool. Alright, so there's a little tiny bit of red. I can increase that if I want. I'm also going to try, I don't know if this will work, I'm going to try and do a procedural, not a procedural, sorry, a physical paint particle. And there should be one that looks like veins. Awesome. I'm going to try and make veins. We'll see if this works. Yeah, it's going to be pretty spicy. It is going to be pretty spicy. So the color is going to be pretty red because it's veins. The roughness is going to be pretty low, so it's shiny. The height is going to go up. Let me just test on this little area. Oh, disgusting. Okay. And I just need to basically change some of these settings, and you'll see how they react in there. Cool, much better. Okay, you can kind of see what I'm doing. Every time I'm changing this, it changes the strength of the vein. So if I do that now, alright, it's not amazing. I mean, it's not too bad when you're coming from the side. Like, I'm doing it at the back. Let's see if I can make it last longer. So from the side, this doesn't reach far enough. But you can kind of see from the side it's not too bad. You try to make them last longer and go faster. So if I go physics, spawn speed faster, particle life longer, particle speed. And let's go from the back again. Come on, buddy. Make your veins. Looks terrible, yeah.
Horrifying. Oh yeah.
Well, you get what I mean, though. It does kind of work. It's not great. I probably will just use the projection method because I can control exactly what it looks like. This one's a bit messy. It's okay. It's, no, it looks like a cartoon eye more than a real eye. Okay, and then when I drop it down, it's not the worst, but it's not great. So that is a failed experiment. But at least hopefully you understand how it works. So anyway, eye vein texture, I could use this as well. I just make, there's loads of little textures already made. I just make a, you okay? I just make a bit metal material again out of that, bring those textures in and project them on. Do you want me to do that, or you kind of know? You know what it is, huh? Yeah, you all know. Alright, cool. So when we're done with this, let's just export this. Textures, file, export textures. Export it to the eyes. That will be in new. And it should export everything I need. I'm actually going to do this in... No, I'll do it in Unity. So export that, grand, and that should be enough. Now I'm going to also need to export the sclera. So file, export, export selected, and this will be sclera. I test to save, and OK. So save this test. And now to Unity. Not great? No, good. Okay.
We're whispering stuff in my ear. No.
I know this is sort of. You usually be able to show us how to make eye socket then. Trying to make eye sockets.
You literally cut a hole.
Cut a hole, that's it?
Can
you
cut a hole and make sure they're all quads.
Okay.
And then if you want to be fancy as well, the hole pulls in a bit, yeah. Try not to, unless it's a very cartoony thing. I've seen people try to use like half of a sphere as eyelids. It looks weird, because it looks like you have this weird kind of outside eyelid thing. It's very strange looking. So normally eyelids are part of the skin. So just try to cut the hole and then like pull it in a little bit, and that's it. Or you can extrude in some point, and then that way it will be. I don't know what's happening here. So eyeball test goes in here. Let's import both of those. Importing asset. Where is asset design? Eyes. So sclera and eye test. Import those. Come on, buddy. Oh my god. What is happening? How is this taking so long? Okay, cheese, finally. Okay, so the eyeball has the sclera and the eyeball on it. Cool. So there it is. It's got the eye. Yo, shut up. Please. Alright, so sclera, I need a new material for it. Create material. If y'all need to talk quiet. Go to the sclera. And I need to change it to transparent or to fade, doesn't matter. And that's where you control the opacity down here with the alpha. You can kind of see being a bit transparency here. You don't go all the way, just a little bit. I probably made the sclera a bit too big. Alright, cool. And then I'll go to the smoothness, and the more smooth I make it, the more unrealistic it's going to look. It's going to look way too unrealistic if it's super shiny. I kind of want somewhere like here, but just enough so there's still highlights on the eyes. So let me just see if I rotate that, look it through the sun. A little bit like that. You can see that kind of looks quite like a real eye. It's slightly opaque, slightly transparent. You don't want it to be too transparent or too opaque. And you do not want it to be too shiny as well. So the smoothness is usually quite low, but high enough that you can see a little bit of a highlight on it. Okay, cool. That's pretty good, kind of milky color. And now I'll make a new material for my eyes. And this one is simple. I just need to import those textures from Substance. I think it was here. Boop. And that should just go onto the eyeball area, onto the the eyeball mesh. And there we go. I have an eyeball that reacts pretty okay to light. If I turn off the directional light and put a point light on it, you might see it a bit clearer. Pretty spooky. So hopefully you can kind of see that it should react sort of like how light would. If you, I don't know how you would know, but grab a friend or something and shine light in their eyes.
Go down and go.
Well, how else are you going to learn? So it does react quite like a real light would. Alright, and it actually is lighting up because the inside, not the iris part, the iris, the part around the pupil. Because I made that slightly metallic, it's slightly metallic, so it kind of shines quite a bit when light's on it, exactly like a normal iris would. And I use a trick, like normal eyes are not metallic, they shine because they're iridescent. But to get that kind of iridescent quality, I made it a little bit metallic. It's just a little trick. Alright, so it does kind of look like it's shining when you have a light on it. Cool? Alright. Any questions on that? Cool, we actually didn't go over that much. We're on extended, so.
It's pretty hot here.
Imagine how hard it is. Oh, you don't skip that. I do actually do.
You said so many words.
I know.
Pick up on it. Notes, head, on it.